welcome to Sal's Hoopheads. Great to have you with us. Season 2023 just around the corner. Can't wait. Justin Nelson with you. And as always, as you'll see right throughout the season, joined by these two. Casey Frank, of course, back for another season. Andrew Mulligan, great to have you with us. And we're back.
We're back. And wasn't it just last week we had the Final Six?
Just
at Event Finance Stadium. It feels like it's gone like that. It's amazing. I love it. I can't wait.
There's a fair bit of news around the league. Probably the biggest and most important is this guy right here now works for the league. Can you believe that?
It's so good, Justin, because I know from sitting next to him in multiple situations, he would be like, this league, I need to run it. I need to get my hands on it.
Unfortunately, I only got my hands on the marketing, so blame me for that. But not
start from the bottom, man. Path of least resistance.
Start from the middle.
That's where I got my marketing degree.
Oh, I got it wrong. I thought you were the manager of the referees.
The day that happens, we might have a few people quitting.
And clearly, first up, I'm completely underdressed for the show. So thanks, guys, for dressing up. Let's get into it. We've got 10 teams. It all starts round one. Really excited. I think it's going to be competitively balanced again. I think it's going to be a fantastically close season. Of course, it is the race to the Final Six. Speaking of the Final Six, runners-up last season, the Auckland Tuatara, they have recruited very, very strongly.
They certainly have. They would be disappointed, but no Chris Johnson. They were disappointed last season. For a while there, they were the hottest team in the league, but they didn't get their run. They didn't time it right for that Final Six, and they sort of became the hunted somewhat. But no Chris Johnson is really, really disappointing as a fan, because it's such a skilled big man. But my goodness, they have filled up the wings beautifully. They've got Cam Glidden, who can shoot the lights out, Ruben Taranaki, who has been playing stout defence for South East Melbourne Phoenix, Jared Weeks running the point, Cruz Pero Hunt, Rob Lowe is back. He's a 2010 guy every game.
And Rob Lowe going to be by himself in the post this year. It's going to be interesting to see how he takes on that challenge of being the lone big with no Johnson.
That's the weakness for me.
And I think that is a weakness. But you look at the players I'm excited about, maybe the player I'm most excited about, close to, is Cruz Pero Hunt. As a young player, he's on that short list. I think he's going to come in and he's going to do a great job at that point guard position. Really promising in Tall Black Camp last year and has a great college career.
What about the guy by the name of Ruben Taranaki?
Yeah. Like, for him to come back into this league after proving himself head and shoulders above where he came from when he was at the Breakers, now he's going to come back and sort of help out the league and the young guys as well and show them what it means to make that next jump.
I remember him playing for the Harbour Heat back in the day as a 17, 18-year-old. He's back now. He's still not even 30. I think he's 29 still. He's had a great career, and it's going from strength to strength. Going to be one of our great tall blacks this year as well.
You realise, to the three of us, 29 sounds so very, very young. Very, very. I'm looking at you, Mullis, when I say that too.
Very long time ago, Justin.
Hey, Bulls. Love what the Bulls have done in this off-season. New coach, fourth in 4 seasons.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of coaches in 4 seasons, but I like this lineup. They have recruited heavily at the top end. Their top 7 is as good as it gets.
I like the fact that at one point, Mika Vakona will walk onto the court and play Franklin Bulls. I'd love to see it. But his fingerprints and what the Franklin Bulls have gone out and done to make themselves relevant in this league in a short amount of time, they've done so well. Look at that.
Yeah.
That is Tyrell Harrison, legit size in this league. There are very few who touch 7 foot. You got Sam Timmins, and maybe Chris Johnson was the length of him, played like he was 7 foot. Tyrell Harrison was a beast for the Bullets in the Aussie NBL.
Dom Kelman-Poto, is he coming off the bench here?
No, that's the question that we got. Coach Daniel Sokolowski has to make. It's going to be a tough one, but he's been a great player for in this league for a long time. He may come off. That energy is great, but you look at this stacked lineup. They've got so many forwards. They've got multiple imports. Jade Bazant's going to come off. I'm really looking for him to blow up this year and impress as well. Tough choice to who starts, who doesn't.
Haven't made the playoffs, 21, 22, 20, showdown, got in there, semi-finals. Let's not count that. Do they make it this season? Surely with that team.
Justin Nelson, Casey Frank, and you, the viewer at home, I have them winning the whole thing.
It's early prediction time.
I have them winning the whole thing. I have no idea how Ricky McGill is going to go. I do like the idea of Jamal Brantley, though, because he's lived here with his brother, and I just feel like that's a real helpful thing, especially for a guy like Sokolowski, the head coach, because that means that there's just that kind of Isaac Davidson touch as well, Jaden Bazant. Like, those things help a team like Franklin. And the Stockyard is a great environment.
Yes.
It's not the prettiest of environments. It's not the prettiest gym. But my goodness, it is cold in July. But gee,
I thought we were building it up.
It is fun though. Limited seating.
I love the fact that he said it's
Great
cold
place
in
to play.
July. What about one of the other?
July's the worst.
I think it's cold in February there.
Yeah, Airs. Now, Airs had a massive run last season, huge run, sold out crowds. How good was it that? I mean, the Airs were up and about.
They love their basketball there.
I think that a few people are unpredicting this team. Unpredicting? Well, they're not predicting them. That's a better way of saying it. I think a few people have gone cold on the Airs, and I think it's a mistake.
I like the fact Marcel Jones is back, and I believe he could start as well. And when last season he wasn't really quite the starter. He didn't look.
He struggled.
He didn't look great to begin with, and then got into his work. So no disrespect to him. But again, Anthony Hilliard, another import coming back. He and Javante Douglas were a highlight reel. No Douglas this season, but Hilliard for me is he is must-see TV for the Airs.
A lot of talk at the moment, Casey, around Armon Fletcher. He comes with high credentials, G League player. They're really talking him up in Taranaki. If he comes in and he does what we saw Javante Douglas do last season, and he's doing that right beside Hilliard again, I think this is a big team. Let's not forget Rosetto comes in as well.
And Zach Rosetto I love. I think coming off 10-5 last year for the Bulls, but I think this is a season to step up. He had an off-season with the Southeast Melbourne Phoenix, or a season if you're playing over in Australia. But as their developmental player, I think that skill set's really going to teach him a lot. But when you look at this team, the questions that I have about it are, who's going to replace Carlin Davidson? As that local wing who give you big minutes, he's not here anymore. That athleticism, that defense he provided, he was really key to that fast break attack. That's my big question. Is it going to be? Are we going to see Scotty Telfer come in and take that spot and really get some time there? That's really interesting to me.
Miles Quinton Bailey crosses back to the Airs, so it's a good pickup. He's certainly a very, very solid player.
Yeah, and you've got Richie Rogers as well. That means that you've got this core coming up as well that makes a difference. Scott Telfer gave them really good minutes.
The pest, the junkyard dog.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And they're going to be driven because that was just a heartbreaking loss.
Let's not go back there. Let's not go back there.
Why do we go back there?
Yeah, no, let's not go back there.
I'm that kind of guy.
Leave it alone.
Going back there.
Because they're going to be driven.
Yeah, I love it.
All Kiwi lineups. Can they win titles? Can they do it? The Hawks. They're gone all Kiwi again. Maybe an import coming in a little bit later on, but right now, all Kiwi. There's a lot of raps around this team. I know, Casey, you're big raps on the Hawks.
I love the local talent. When you look at the guys they have, Hiram Harris, you've got Daron Rukawa, Easton Rusbatch. So you got those guys together. Jordan Hunt. Wow, that is just such a quality lineup to start. Now you bring in Jordan Natai, who wasn't there last year. And the ability of that lineup to go up and down, I really do like a lot. Now, I had this team picked as my title favorite. Now that's when I thought 2 imports were coming in. Now we're a little bit up in the air about who's going to come in and when he's going to be ready. I still think this is a top 6 team. I love the talent. I love Hiram Harris. He is going to have a great season. I love the way he was playing for Adelaide, and his heart, his soul means so much to the squad.
They got caught out last season, didn't they? Because they just didn't get their roster together quick enough in time to make a real push and cause that disruption and get in sync. So this all Kiwi lineup. And getting Denham Brook, a big who can stretch the floor as well, really helps their 3-point shooting.
The way they're going to be up and down, I think they're going to play like the Zico Cornell coach teams of a few years ago. You got Everett Bartlett in his first year as coach. I'm sure he's going to draw a lot from that. And this lineup is built to run and shoot. And
they've also got a man who's got the toughest job in the Cells NBL this season, Jared Kenny.
That guy.
I mean, he is literally taking
backup point guard.
Everything on, isn't he? GM.
My back hurts talking about him. That's how much responsibility is falling on him.
His back hurts and the season hasn't even started. Let's move on to the Jets. And one thing about the Jets, they may not have won too many games last season. They definitely held the table up, but they were very good in patches. They're a team that is building around culture. They've definitely changed what they're doing off the court. New ownership, new coach. I really like the progress that they made last season. Their imports could be a surprise packet this season. I think teams need to be careful that they don't sleep on the Jets.
With 3 imports, that's the most important thing. The talent that comes in, that's 120 minutes a game that you can get out and have supreme talent. So if you hit on those 3 picks, you're going to be good. We saw it with Taranaki last year, the way that they came up from nowhere. Those 3 imports came together and lifted a team that everyone picked for out of the finals. Now this is another young squad. The local Kiwi talent is going to have to develop and get up to a level, but in that respect, I really like that they pulled over Josh Ledger. Excited to see him amongst some of the other young guys.
I really like the fact that they managed to get 3 imports from the very beginning. beginning as well. And that will make a chance. They'll give them a chance for the Jets to really pick off some teams, because everyone's starting afresh somewhat. People have moved, imports have come in. It makes it easy picking for the Jets in the first few rounds.
It's worth mentioning that Coach Manawatu Jets had announced his entire roster before the Rams had even announced one player. So they got out there.
It's organised.
In fact, every team had announced their entire roster before the Rams announced the player. Mustafa Hedden, now, look, this is a guy to watch. He's currently playing in the NBA G League. He's involved in the playoffs right now with Rio Grande Valley Vipers. He won't be here this week for the Southern Swing, and that's a big start for the Jets, having to take on the Sharks and the Nuggets. But he is a quality, legit import. Can't wait to see him come out.
If you're able to hit on a guy, it's worth waiting for 2 weeks, especially a guy who's playing in the G League right now. You're going to be battle-tested, ready to go. You love that he's fit and fighting and ready to come over and dominate.
Let's move on to the Wellington Saints, shall we? It is well and truly a part of folklore now that they had such a quiet start to last season. In the end, they sacrificed their coach, Guy Malloy, who the Sharks have now picked up. They've recruited strongly. It looks a good unit. What are your thoughts?
I'm disappointed they're not going to run with 4-5 guys.
Six power forwards.
Yeah.
Big team.
Yeah, I really enjoyed.
There's a lot of guards this year.
Really enjoyed the Saints last season, because everyone bar the Saints fans don't like the Saints. I'm from Wellington. I grew up watching the Saints. I'm a Saints guy. I love them. But Kyle Adnam, man, like when he first came into the Aussie NBL, I remember just thinking, who's this guy who's walked off Byron Bay? Like, he was just come straight from the beach, carved out a little slice of the NBL for himself, and he is a tough guard. He will go so good for the Wellington Saints. That's what they were lacking with Mike Smith last year. Actual point guard who could set the table for everyone, and so they could feed.
And not for the first time, Casey, because the Saints have done it many, many times over the years. There were as many as 4 teams chasing Kyle Adnam, and the Saints picked him up. They've done that a few times over the years, haven't they?
Well, Jordan Mills running that team as a GM and does a great job of taking care of players. You know you're going to get a professional environment. You know you're going to have a chance to fight for a championship. And, you know, you bring in Tohi Smith-Milner, the first time he's been back since he last won with the Wellington Saints. Great to have him back in the league. And I think his size and shooting touch can be a real difference maker. Of course, Tom Bogdanovic just dominating in the Philippines right before he's coming back after a huge breaker season. Expect him to have another really big season. Dane Samuel, a little bit disappointed in the way he was able to produce last year.
He's got to, let's put it on the table right now, show one. He's got to step up this season. It's time, isn't it? Surely.
Yeah, and it's there. You know, we joked about the power forwards, but it's tough for a young player to find his niche when everybody has the same skill set as you. I think they can depend on him a little bit more, and he's just such a talented guy.
His best is very, very good.
I like to see him in the Xavier Cooks role, not getting out and running and leading the break, but getting that high-low action, getting him at the elbow, creating. He can fall away. His jump shot is so silky smooth. Best release in the game. I love watching Dane Samuel play.
I think every Saints fan would like to see Dane Samuel in Xavier Cooks mode.
Yeah, that would be good.
And truly. Yeah. Let's have a look at the Giants. What a run they had last season, the Giants. It was so much fun to watch. They were top of the table for so long, of course. That gripping last game against the Airs for that top spot in the regular season. Bowed out in the final 6, unexpectedly, I think. One thing that's been troublesome for the Giants, Casey, has been their search for imports. You've got some news.
Yeah, fortunately for Mike Fitchett, after a couple of false starts, he was able to get in a couple of guys, some real high quality in Matehaere Maker, who's back to the league. He had a quick stint with the Canterbury Rams last year. One game. 12 for 14 from the field.
Wow.
That's not bad. He got injured, unfortunately, rehabbed the whole time, but he's a guy I think can really influence in them. And to be fair to the Giants team that was so good last year, they struggled inside. They needed a little bit more, but they need something on the wing as well, and they got that in Avery Woodson.
They got eaten up inside, didn't they? When they came up against the size of Sam Timmins and the like. So I like the fact that they've got Alex McNaughton, and Mike Fitchett has thrown the keys at McNaughty and said, "Go young buck, lead us."
I love it.
Yeah, and his progression as a Saints development player off the court, it'll come to the fore for the Giants this season, because he loved being in that environment. He worked hard every day. They speak highly of him. They love him at the Breakers. So he will be exciting to watch, and he's such a pest on defence. I love it.
And let's not forget 2 things with the Giants as well. They've got the most improved player from 2022. He's about 47 years of age, but he's the most improved player. Sammy D, we love him. Please take that the right way, Sammy. But they've also got what could be classed as a new fresh recruit coming back in Tom Ingham.
Wow, that's pretty good, because if you've got that and you've got Mike Fitchett leading those guys and that culture of Nelson and that fan base as well, that all feeds into itself.
Yeah, absolutely. Tummingham's great to have him back in the league. You know, it's going to be tough to come back from that injury, but if he's able to play at that level he was at previously, will be a big lift and help their final 6 chances.
Here's my team. This is the team I'm high on. I'm really, really hot on the Rams. I think that Judd Flavel has put together a fantastic roster, and it starts with a big Kiwi signing in Ty Wynyard.
Ty Wynyard was walking around with Judd Flavel in Christchurch. During the
Breaker games down there.
Yeah, breaker games down there, and it was like, oh wow! If you throw Ty Wynyard into that mix, I mean, Britt Brown, Max Darling, and then you've got your imports as well. That's a very, very tough team to come up against. I have them in my 6. Thankfully, I've got them in my 6 because they could actually upset my Bulls prediction.
Going all the way for me, the Rams. What do you think, Kay?
I think they'll be very good. I think they're a top 6 team. The question is, how good are those imports going to be? Are they going to be able to really lift that level? Because I love what Taylor Britt gives on both ends of the court. I think this is a big year for Walter Brown.
Yeah.
You know, he's got that year of experience. He came on the scene last year, but he's got the type of game that I think can really contribute right now. I think he's a double-figure scorer in this league if he gets more chances. But I think we've talked about a couple of guys who needs to really find that range, find their spot. Max Darling. I want to see him contribute as well as he can.
Needs a big season.
Get through an entire year and contribute like he can, dominate at times, carry that on.
No Sam Smith. What I will say about Tevin Brown, you can see him third down on that roster that we brought up a moment ago. His last game in the G League for the Fort Wayne Mad Ants, which is part of the Indiana Pacers program, of course, 31 minutes, 20 points. He's legit. He's going to come out and he's going to be a star in this competition.
To get 30 minutes in the G League
absolutely
is great.
Yep. Keep an eye out. Prediction for the Rams. We know final 6. They haven't had a championship, I think, since 1992. Well, you've already given the prediction. What would it mean to the fans?
It would mean a lot. I say they lose the final to the Bulls because then that makes me look like I'm a savant. When I pick the Bulls to win. But it would mean everything to Christchurch because Christchurch, they love their basketball. They brought the Breakers twice to their city. That city loves sport. It loves its basketball. The Rams are well overdue with that stat last time they won.
Dedicated fans. The resurrected team, you know, they wasn't in the league for a bit, but they came up, and it's been great to see the support down at Cowles. You know, one of many fan bases that do deserve a title. They've got a great chance for it.
Well, let's have a look at the Nuggets now, and of course they are the reigning champions, guys, and what a run they had in the final 6. First and foremost, I mean, that was a magical 4 days, no doubt about that. There's a lot of similarity about the Nuggets. A couple of new imports, but Todd Withers, Sam Timmins, they're back, but they are missing a prime Kiwi as well.
I like the fact that when you bring an import back who's familiar with the league, as I've said previously, that gives you such an advantage for the other 2 imports that come in. If they're from overseas, obviously, they can be also the conduit for the league in the way that it's refereed and the lifestyle and the expectations of their output.
Yeah, and Todd Withers is just such a fantastic defender. He completely changes the way every team plays against them defensively. And to me, he was the reason they were able to win that championship when they caught fire down the stretch. And now they'll be trying to catch lightning in a bottle one more time.
Well, I'm not sure where the great man Brent Matehaere is right now, but it looks very, very appetising. I must admit, blue skies abound. Brent, congratulations on the title last season. And importantly, I know we're getting to the business end of starting it all again, but how have the last 6 months been?
Oh, look, having an off season where you're the champion and it's great. You wake up every day and know what you achieved and reminisce on it, the whole summer. So certainly been a nice summer down in Dunedin. I'm not currently there, so I'm enjoying a bit of Auckland sunshine. But it's been a great summer and we've enjoyed it. And obviously, looking to this week, put a bit of work into finding a new roster.
Well, enough resting on the laurels of last season. You're in this season. It only matters what we go going forward. But I do have a question about last year's team. Nico McCulloch was so key to the way you guys played last year, both offensively and defensively. Big loss for you. Where do you look at to replace him with local talent, or are you just going to up the minutes on your import trio?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, Nico was searching for something a little different and opportunities over in Australia. So, we wish him all the best, and he's certainly one of our whānau and one that we'll continue to support. And so, we went with an import point guard, and Jacory or J-Rock McLaughlin. So, we were really excited about having him. It's about levelling up for the guys that are coming off the bench. Obviously, Jack Andrews just spent time with the Perth Wildcats, and the guys around over the summer have been working hard, basically to fight the fight this year.
How hard was it or how easy was it, Brent, to bring guys like J Rock and Michael Harris to Dunedin? Because it must be easy to sell where the defending champs come down to an environment that works.
Yeah, to be honest, it's obviously it doesn't sit great with Kiwis to self-sell yourself. It's like really a challenge. I guess to put yourself out there and say, hey, look, we've won it 2 times out of the last 3. We've got a great program. Development's going well. But I guess when speaking with American imports on Zoom calls, it's really important that you do that.
Hold on, Brent. You can't wear that paisley shirt and say it's tough to throw yourself out there. Hold on. This is a clash of story here.
Hang on.
Well, suits on Wall Street look after me, so I've got to look after them.
Hey, more to the point, I know it's been a big 6 months of celebration. Is he sitting in front of a wine barrel?
I think he is. Did you do your Zoom calls at the country club to convince the imports to come? I love it.
Hey, we wish you
any available measure to get people over the line.
Good on you. And J-Rock, I've written that one down. That's going to come up a few times this
we'll keep that.
Don't worry about that. Hey, Brent, thanks for joining us on Sel's Hoopheads. Best of luck this week. The Nuggets, of course, at home to the Jets first up, no doubt, unveiling a championship banner. Well done on 2022. It all starts again this season. Good luck.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys.
Well, let's head down to the Deep South now. It was a season to forget in 2022 for the Southland Sharks. They are perennial finalists. We know that. They've got a chip on their shoulder. Things didn't go to plan last season. New coach, Guy Malloy, another Australian coach, and they are definitely going with some very familiar faces. And they're going with a young man who I think is going to have a breakout season in Drew Leo.
Drew Leo Lasongapia is he's bubbling onto what he can be as a player. His athleticism is really top notch. I think as soon as he understands the effect he can have on the court, it's really going to be trouble for the rest of the league. And you look at this wider squad, bringing a lot of guys back. They've got a lot of pride in Southland. They didn't play up to their expectations last year. So it's going to be up to these guys to lift that level because they haven't done a ton of changes, not as many as you might have expected.
I want to see Romaro Gill dominate. You get shades of it, his length, his size, his shot blocking ability. I don't necessarily think he's going to be a post player for them. He's not going to be an offensive threat, but I just want to see him use his size to his best advantage. And I just think that Jeremy Kendall is such a savvy veteran for this team as well. He can shoot the ball, he can fill it up, but just what he brings with attitude. We've seen it both here and in Australia.
I'm just incredibly jealous that Romaro Gill can stand there and touch the ring. And I need a 12-step ladder to get anywhere.
No ladder jokes with the Sharks. Okay.
Alonzo Burton, how important is he to this team? And we should also mention that Braden Inga will miss the start of the season through injury.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of the Inga stuff actually until right now. And he was a guy that I had circled that to have a bounce-back year because a little bit disappointed for him. Missed out on Top Black's opportunity. I thought he was going to really come back and go strong. Unfortunate for him to come back. But Alonzo Burton, I think his leadership, his shooting ability, obviously, but he's a guy who's going to come in, give you that instant offense, but it's about the leadership, it's about the intangible.
If Drew Leo brings the ball up, you've got Jeremy Kendall there and you've got Alonzo Burton there.
Look out.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. That's a great perimeter right there.
Jeremy Kendall's last 3 games in the Cells NBL, by the way, a couple of years ago, were as good as you will ever see. Quite amazing.
We got courtside seats for one of those games.
We did.
They were so fun.
Yep. Great to see him back. Round 1, it all starts, and big round 1 clashes as well. There's 6 games every week in the Cells NBL, so there's action coming your way thick and fast, of course, every game live right here on Sky Sport. What are your thoughts? Round 1, let's go through it. Thursday night. It starts with the Bulls and the Hawks.
What an absolute barn burner that is to kick this league off, tip it off. I think this will be a game where the Bulls will show their credentials, and I think the Hawks will, have to travel to that beautiful stadium that is Franklin Poole and Leisure Centre.
Friday night, Sharks take on the Jets.
If they had their full contingent of imports, I think I might pick them in a little bit of an upset, but I think they're going to lose that first one and the Sharks ready to go.
Giants and Tuatara, Matehaere, and from all reports, Avery Woodson will both be right to go. It definitely strengthens up the Giants from where we thought they may have been just a couple of days ago.
I can't wait to call this game. Giants, Tuatara, I'm picking that's going at least 1 overtime.
Yeah, this is the closest game of the week for me. I don't know exactly which way it's going to go, but I'll go Tuatara. I'll go Tuatara.
At least one overtime as well. I kind of like that. Saints and Hawks, talking about teams that love to go into battle against each other. Saints and Hawks clearly have a lack of, well, I won't say respect. I think they respect each other, but they don't like each other.
Familiarity it breeds something. Well, it's not respect, it's a little bit of contempt, but it's okay.
Nuggies, Jets.
Nuggets for mine.
Yeah, Nuggets for me.
I'm going to go with the Jets in an upset.
Really?
I think there's going to be a little bit of a championship hangover. First one.
Road Dogs. Love it.
And then the big one, Sunday night, looking forward to this. Also live on Prime, Rams and Airs.
Rams.
Wynyard against his former team.
Okay, Airs.
Wynyard Rosetta. Wynyard Rosetta. What are we going with here?
Wow.
You know what? Everybody, I'm going to go with the Airs.
I'm going Rams then.
Rams for me. Looking forward to it. Now, quickly, before we get out of here for week one of Sal's Hoopheads, a couple of big announcements. Sal's today have signed, renewed 6 years as naming rights partners of the Sal's
There we go.
NBL.
There we go.
How good is that?
What a
Takes them out to
commitment.
11 years.
That is an unbelievable
Massive.
commitment to this league, because this league has been through ups and downs, and to have a partner like that commercially is so stunning.
There's an empty there's an empty box for you, by the way, with no
You don't get pizza?
It was full when I walked in.
I was going to say that my favorite thing about the sponsorship is the great food that we get on the set, but now we'll have to talk to somebody about that. But
champions this season, Rams for me.
I've got the Bulls.
I'm going with the Hawks, even though I picked them to lose 2 games in opening weekend.
MVP?
MVP is going to be, who did I say? Sam Timmins.
Hiram Harris.
Tevin Brown for me from the Rams, breakout player.
Dan Fortu.
Oh, like it.
And Zach Rossetto. It's his time to shine.
Drew Leo Lasongi for me. So there you go. Round one, get out and enjoy it. The Sal's NBL is back. Can't wait. 6 games coming your way across Sky Sport. Have fun. We'll be back next week on Sal's Hoopheads. See you then.